Welcome back to the Six Figure Mastermind. Today, let's talk about how to become a powerful public speaker, because there's really two realms. There's the public speakers and there's the powerful ones that change lives. We want to be in the latter, so stay tuned. Let's face it, we live in an information age, all right? You're on YouTube. My guess this isn't your first time. You've been on YouTube before looking stuff up. You're trying to digest information, and maybe colleges at some point will be obsolete because of all the information that's available on YouTube and all the information that's just swirling around us. It's confounding and confusing. So when you want to become a powerful public speaker, you need to step outside the information age. Okay, how many times have you taken notes on a lecture or guest speaker and just shoved it in a drawer and forgotten all about it? Okay, my guess is it's happened more than once. A powerful public speaker not just delivers information, yeah, that's a part of it, but they're also delivering transformation. When you're talking about becoming a transformational public speaker, that means your audience leaves you different than when they came in the room, which means you need to deliver more than just content. You need to deliver more than just your story. You need to deliver more than just your message. You actually need to have your audience do something that we call in the industry called a process that they can actually do when they're with you, so that they have the tools not just in hand, but already have used by the time they leave the room. So feel free to interrupt yourself. Do what's called the content process in your presentation. You start off by delivering your story, you're introducing yourself, you're introducing why this is credible information, and then you have your audience actually stop, put their notes on the ground, maybe even stand up and find a partner and practice in real time what you're teaching them. That creates transformation. They're doing something they've never done before. They've never done it in their homes, they've never done it in their families, and they've certainly never done it with a stranger across the aisle from them. That is transformational. That's when the hardwiring in their brain will actually start to form new neural pathways. And if you're a really great transformational speaker, you're going to have them repeat this process over and over, at least 2 or 3 times, so that neural pathway really starts to form and transform their lives. Remember, we're going for transformation, not just information. Part of becoming a great speaker is mastering your story. Some people call it the hero's journey. It's your story that you tell from where you came from to where you are now. Now, it seems almost like a duh thing. Of course you want to tell your story, but here's what I mean by that. A lot of speakers will start to tell other people's stories. They'll say, I heard of a man who, or I saw this woman who, and basically they're just reciting Chicken Soup for the Soul on stage. There's no real connection there. I'm not connecting to you if you're telling me someone else's story. So you need to craft your story, create your story, and in doing so, keep this in mind. There's this tip I have for you. Chronology and sequencing are 2 different things. If you tell your story in chronological order, it might not be as impactful as if you sequence the story correctly. Let me give you an example. Let's say, for example, that when you were 5, you fell off your bike and you skinned your knee. Okay, and maybe you decided that I always get into accidents. And then maybe when you were 7, you fell off the swing set at the playground. Okay, but between that age of 5 and 7, you had this moment of being in the doctor's office, and you saw the doctor give you the x-ray, and you're like, oh, I always get hurt. All right, you would tell the story not in chronological order, because the deepest depths of the story wasn't the most recent part. You've got this moment when you were 5, when you fell and skinned your knee. You've got this in-between moment where you're at the doctor's office, you see this broken bone. And then you've got this other moment when you were 7, when you fell off the structure. Your story is not as impactful chronologically as it is sequentially. So I would tell a story like this. Man, I had these moments in my youth. I remember when I was 5 years old, I fell down and I scraped my knee. And I thought, oh, man, I hate it when this happens. And then when I was 7, I fell off the structure of the playground and I hurt myself again. But the most impactful moment was when I was sitting in the doctor's office and I was looking up at that x-ray and I saw that broken bone, and I thought for my entire life that I would go through my whole life on this planet not having a broken bone, and yet there I was. And I made this decision that I always get hurt. Pause. Do you see what I get there? I've got the story outside of chronology and I've put it in sequence so that it's stair-stepping to its most impactful moment. Become an expert at your sequencing. The last thing to keep in mind, and the most important thing to remember when you are becoming a great speaker, is that connection with your audience. Be accessible to your audience. Allow them to work with you and play with you on the next level. Personally, when I see a public speaker get up on stage and they leave the audience without any further way to interact with them, I kind of feel like they ripped them off a little bit. You need to leave the audience something, some way to play with you on a next level. Offer a CTA, a call to action, some way for them to get a hold of you on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, or maybe via email, or maybe even through a website. Something where maybe they can text you on an auto-respond text message so they can learn to work with you on a further basis. I mean, nothing's worse than giving someone great value and then saying, sorry, that's it. That's all I've got. So offer your clients the next steps in working with you. And if you want to generate leads, that's the best and only way to do it from stage. Create a call to action. Don't rip your clients off by not having a way to further interact with you on a regular basis. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Hope you liked today's video. If you have any comments or questions, fill them out in the comment section below. Here's the thing. I work with amazing speakers on a regular basis. I have speakers that have been syndicated on several channels and spoken internationally on stages all over the world. If you feel that calling is for you, I want to know about it, because my favorite place on the planet is my pressure cooker where I train my speakers. If you feel that calling at all, here's what I want you to do. Hit up that description. There's a link in there. Fill that out. And what that's going to do is send me a note, and my team and I are going to get with you, and we're going to see how we can take you to your next beautiful stage. Talk to you soon.